Namaste. We are continuing our bliss of enjoying Sri Krishna's names as it comes in Srimad Bhagavad Geetha, where Arjuna and Sanjaya address Sri Krishna in different names. In this episode, let's focus on Swarna Bhumi. It's the start of a new Gregorian calendar year, and a lot of people would have taken holidays. Bangkok is a place some of us known to us would have been on a holiday. So what's special about Bangkok and this episode? As we move along, we will talk about Swarna Bhumi, the airport in Bangkok, and this link to this episode. So we are now in chapter 11, where Arjuna is actually blessed and amazed at the darshan of Vishwarupa as shown by Lord Sri Krishna. Because till 10th chapter, Arjuna had raised a lot of questions and Lord Krishna gives him a lot of answers. But in the process, actually, if you go deeper into it, Sri Krishna is molding Arjuna to be ready for one of the rarest sights that you and I can never even fathom. So in the chapter 11, where Arjuna is blessed with the Vishwarupa Darshana, Vishwarupa, as the entire universe is seen in Sri Krishna, where he says everything is himself, everything is inside himself, and that darshan Arjuna is blessed with. So this episode, we are going to talk about the 37th sloka in the 11th chapter after Arjuna is blessed with Vishwarupa Darshana. So he addresses again Sri Krishna in many names, where Devesha and Jagannivasa is what he uses in conjunction, not once, not twice, at least 3-4 times. So in this episode, as we continue with the experience of Devesha, where Lord Sri Krishna says that I am the Devas of Devas and the protector of Devas. And Arjuna says, yes, Hoy Krishna, I am amazed at you as the Vishwarupa and that you are the entire universe. And he prostrates and gives his namaskars to Krishna in all directions. At this again Arjuna says, hey Krishna, you are the protector of Devas. You are not just protector of Devas. Immediately he says Jagannivasa, because he are also present in the Jagan. Jagan is the universe or the world, we can say. And like we say Srinivasa, where Sri is the abode, where Sri Krishna is the abode of Sri as Mahalakshmi. Here, Jagannivasa, this universe is also the abode, where the universe resides inside Sri Krishna or as Sri Mahavishnu. So again he says Jagannivasa. So you are not protector of Devas alone, you are protectors of all of us here. And that is what Arjuna is explaining in this chapter through the sloka 37.
Kasmachate nanna meran mahatman gariyase brahmanopyadi kartre ananta devesha jagannivasa tvamaksharam sadasatparam yath.
Devesha, the protector of Devas, and Jagannivasa, where the Jagat is inside him and he is also the cover of the Jagat. So entire Sri Krishna or Sriman Narayana is omnipresent, omnipotent and the protector for all of us. Now, when we talk of protecting the Devas as Devesha, we know a lot of Purana, Itihasa, where this has been told to us through various instances. The one most of us, almost all of us know, is when Sriman Narayana churns the Shirabdi, otherwise the Milky Way, the ocean of milk, right, as we call it. Now when did this happen? It happened several yugas before, when the Devas were cursed for some crime that they committed, so that they lost all their sheen, lost all their wealth. So what they do? They rush to Mahavishnu and prostrate at him, surrender at his divine feet and say, please forgive us and save us, because we have been cursed by a rishi because of whatever sins we committed, that we have lost all our wealth and lost all our sheen. We have to regain everything. So Devas, who are now totally forlorn and lost everything, surrender at the divine feet of Mahavishnu and ask Mahavishnu to save them. Mahavishnu, whoever falls at his divine feet and seeks surrender, instantly helps. There are again many Puranic Vedic instances where he doesn't have to prove, but he has proven that he is available for anybody who surrenders with faith at his divine feet. So here he says, go and churn the Milky Way or Milky Ocean, the Shirabdi. He says, how do we churn? It's a huge ocean and we won't have the strength or wherewithal to churn the ocean. Now, this is where he says, take the Manthara hill or the Manthara mountain as your mast to do it, but you will not be able to do it yourself. So let me ask the asuras also to join you to take one end, but remember, take the tail end from you, don't take the head, near the head. Now what is this tail and head? Where is this coming? Because every rope will have a head portion and tail portion, but to churn the Mantara hill, you can't do it with a rope. So obviously Mahavishnu requests Lord Shiva to loan the Vasuki, the serpent that Lord Shiva adorns, and the Vasuki serpent to be used as the rope to churn the Mantara hill. So this is where Mahavishnu tells the Devas to use the tail portion. Asuras, again here, the Asuras and Devas, let's be very clear, it's not about classification or grouping. It is basically the behavior of you and I which makes us either a Deva or Asura. Again in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in many places, Sri Krishna says, who are Devas and who are Asuras? Basically, one who listens to and obeys and lives as per Sri Krishna's advice, or who seeks forgiveness at the divine feet of Sri Krishna or Sriman Narayana will be Devas. One who think they are everything and they live on their own, not with the guidance of Sri Krishna, will become an Asura. So here the Asuras are in one end, and who are drunk with ego, pride and everything, they choose the head portion. And what happens when you churn it with a snake? A snake will let out poisonous gases. So because the Asuras were closer to the head, they were affected by the poison that was coming out of the Vasuki as they were churning the Mantara Mala. The Mantara hill, as this being churned by the Devas and Asuras, started falling because it's a huge hill, and here we are talking of a churning that is going to take a lot of weight and all this, and this obviously is going to fall. Again the Devas plead to Sriman Narayana to help them, and this is where Sriman Narayana takes the incarnation of Kurma. The Kurma avatar, as we all know, is a turtle, one which is amphibious, which lives in land and in water, and which has a huge protection on its back. Through that, Lord Sriman Narayana ensures that the Mantara Mala doesn't fall into the ocean, he just protects it. Now the churning has happened, and you visualize this, that you have Lord Vishnu as the Kurma avatara holding the Mantara under the water, and it's being churned like this. Swami Sri Desikan, one of the greatest Vaishnava Acharyas, has given us a lot of works to enjoy Lord Sriman Narayana in various forms. And one of these important works is Dasha Avatara Shostra, where he has given stotra for each of the avatar, Dashavatara Stotra. In that, when he eulogizes, worships Kurma Avatara, he says the churning on the back of the Kurma Avatara feels to Sriman Narayana as a nice massage, that he is very happily sleeping, is how Swami Desika is enjoying Sriman Narayana here. Now, when somebody sleeps in peace, sometimes you snore. So the snoring of the turtle, the Sriman Narayana in the form of Kurma, is actually giving them, the Vedas and the Asuras, enough strength, because it's after all the breath of Sriman Narayana. So that itself is protecting them. Now, but this churning, when it happens at the bottom of the ocean where Kurma Avatara is what Lord is holding the mountain is jumping on the top. Now something has to happen now, and that is where you will find Sriman Narayana again standing on top of the hill and dancing or balancing. Now here, as they say Adi and Anta is Sriman Narayana, here he is proving it in a different form. He is there at the top, he is there at the bottom. End to end it is Sriman Narayana. Now what form is he in the top? Here, as he is dancing and enjoying in the churn, he lets loose his hair, and the flowing of the hair is so beautiful to look. We would have enjoyed one of Lord Sri Krishna's names in Naama Geetha as Keshava earlier. One of the interpretation of Keshava is one who has a lovely Kesha. Kesha means your hair in the head. So as it dances left and right and all that, the Kesha flows beautifully on Sriman Narayana. Is a sight worth to watch. Now let's look at Swarna Bhumi we talked about. This episode is enacted as a fixed statue in a large space in the departure hall of Bangkok Airport Swarna Bhumi, completely giving credence to Vishnu Purana, explaining the incarnation and explaining the situation, and for us to have the darshan of Keshava and the Kurma Avatara, where the Devas and Asuras are also holding the Vasuki snake, churning it. Ideally, every airport and railway station in India should have one of these itihasas depicted. Fortunately or unfortunately, we have to learn this from an overseas airport, but Sanatana Dharma was spread all over the world. So it's no surprise that there is another country which respects this, and we are able to see that there. So let's enjoy Sriman Narayana here as a Devesha, because he is here to protect the Deva, at the same time is a Jagannivasa. Now, we again ask a question. When you say he is only protecting the Devas, he is asking them to stand in the tail and not in the head, and voluntarily makes Asuras stand closer to the poison that will let go by Vasuki. Now, is he against, as a god, how can he be partial to Devas and partial to Asuras? The answer is not about partial to anybody. The Lord is the father of all of us. He, Sri Krishna or Sriman Narayana, is the creator of everything, as humans, as the world, and everything, innate things, living things and non-living things. So he can't be partial, but he takes the side of anybody who surrenders to him. Here we are talking about Devas having surrendered to Sriman Narayana and asking his help, and that is why he is giving these directions. Asuras didn't do that. Those Asuras were drunk in their own ego and their own pride, that they didn't even realize that there is a god standing there, and that is why you take sides. So if you really look at Purana earlier, Prahlada was protected by Sriman Narayana, and in the final instance happens, he comes even as an avatar of half lion and half man, and just in a pillar where Prahlada was showing the hands. Who was Prahlada? Was he a Deva? Yes, Deva by behavior, but he was an Asura's son, Hiranyakashipu's son. Vibhishana was granted protection by Lord Sri Rama. Who was Vibhishana? An Asura, Ravana's brother. But he showed his Deva characteristics by approaching Sriman Narayana, surrendering at his divine feet, and seeking Sri Rama to take him and bless him. So all of us can become Devas in one instant, moment we understand Sri Krishna is the Devesha and Jagannivasa, and surrender to his divine feet. As we experience in chapter 11 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna as Devesha and Jagannivasa, he is protecting Arjuna at different times in different stages. Earlier during their Vanamasa, now by being an Acharya, not just as God, giving him words of wisdom as Srimad Bhagavad Gita, everywhere he is protecting Devesha. Why? Because Arjuna surrendered at Sri Krishna's feet and sought his direction, sought his wisdom, sought his knowledge. So each one of us can become Devas. All we need to do is to fold our hands in bhakti, in complete realization that Sri Krishna is everything. He is the Devesha, he is the Jagannivasa. We saw Purushottama, he is everybody. He is a Rishikesha who is controller of all our senses and emotions. So we, knowing fully well Sri Krishna is everything, we fold our hands in faith and surrender to Sri Krishna and seek his divine blessings as Devesha and Jagannivasa. Namaste.
Madhava Achyuta Krishna Hare Rishikesha Kesava Govinda Vasudeva Bhagavan Janardana